Welcome back to the Football Experience podcast, brought to you by myself, Javen Williams, and co-hosts Josh Fryer and Jed Davies. We return after a month absence, in which there's been much football to discuss. We've had an international break, but we've also had the start of the Premier League season. So we have a lot to look back on, a lot to think about and talk about. But throwing it over to you, lads, Josh and Jed. Who has impressed you the most? What teams have really stood out to you? Perhaps ones that you didn't expect to do well this season, and players as well. Any standout players for you? We'll start with you, Jed. Anyone in particular you got in mind?
Well, apart from this last game week, I think Brighton have been had an electric start to the season, but then they just drew against Ipswich, which is unfortunate for them. But I feel like the normal teams doing well are up there. Villa are doing well, so happy about that. But generally, there's not been too much. It's been a pretty standard start to the season. City, Arsenal, again off to a good start, and most of the promoted teams are struggling. So we'll have to see what kind of impact that has. But as for each game week, it's been quite entertaining, and there's always been a shock result as well that we haven't seen coming. So, but yeah, I think Brighton's probably the standout for the good start to their season.
Yeah, well, it's no wonder that they drew 0-0 with Ipswich because I decided to add Danny Welbeck to my team. And I am cursed with fantasy football, as you know. Josh, what do you reckon? What do you think?
To be honest, yeah, I do agree with Jed. I think that Brighton have had I'm pretty sure all of us actually, for our prediction episode, I think it was the last episode we did, I think we pretty much all predicted that Brighton would be in the lower half of the table, if I'm not mistaken, because of the people they got rid of. But they've done really well, to be honest with you. I think West Ham, I've shocked a lot of people in terms of that. I feel like we've kind of expected them to do better than they had done, bear in mind the signings that they kind of brought in over the summer. Obviously, typically sort of Man City, Haaland scoring goals like is just practicing in his back garden almost. But yeah, I'd probably say out of all of them, I'd have to agree with Jed, to be honest. Brighton, I'd probably say the standout because, like I say, just how everyone kind of predicted that they would just do bad, rather than what they're currently doing at the minute. But yeah, I'll probably say Brighton are my standout at the moment, currently as it stands.
Interesting. I was thinking Newcastle. Personally, the fact that they're sitting pretty in third right now. I know it's early in the season, we're not even in October, but I thought they might have thrown things away a little bit today against Wolves, but they got right back into it, and doesn't matter how you win as long as you do, I suppose. Now everybody's waiting for Newcastle to really show their worth for the money that's being invested into the club, and this could be the start of something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to touch upon it a little bit more about Newcastle. I mentioned it a few weeks ago, and we all know that Newcastle have had their struggles last season. They were literally playing players from their reserves pretty much the second half of the season. They had just quite an unlucky run of form for their players. But I said, as soon as Newcastle's players are fit and ready and are back from injury, they will be top 4-5, I reckon, this season, finishing, because they've got the players to do it. They're kind of like that Leicester that we kind of saw from when they won the Prem several years back. They haven't got necessarily the most outstanding players, but they all just gel and work really good as a team. So yeah, no, I agree with you there, Javen, 100% for Newcastle, definitely.
If we're talking about like how we predicted people, like when we did our predictions table, I thought Forest wouldn't be very good, but they've been quite impressive. after a slow start, but beating Liverpool yesterday was is fantastic. I think they've really gelled together well now with their team. It was a good goal from Hudson-Odoi. But yeah, I put Brighton and Brentford like mid-table, but I put Everton 13th as well, which is not too good for them at the moment.
I know they're sitting in relegation, aren't they? But yeah, I mean, that was a massive shock yesterday, that Liverpool game. I was watching it, like the updates for it, and I was like, please score, please. I have Salah as my captain. And literally, like, as got to the 90th minute, and I was just like, oh my days, they're still losing 1-0. And yeah, it's a fantastic win. I think any points at Anfield for most teams is, you know, whether it's a draw or a win, obviously is a big win nevertheless. But you know, Liverpool dominated. I was looking at stats. I think they had like 70% possession to Forest's 30. And yeah, they just, it's fantastic. Really good result for them. But yeah, they're doing really well as well at the minute, considering the, you know, the players that they've got and compared it to Liverpool's team, you know, so they did really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, I cursed Liverpool by captaining Diaz. Sorry, Liverpool fans, but not sorry.
You like the Drake, aren't you? Of when people take pictures of Drake, we're all with him.
If I add Haaland to my team, he'll go through a goal drought.
Yeah, leave him out of your team for now, Jay. He's getting me loads of points.
Too late anyway. The damage is done. So yeah, Haaland's. You mentioned him earlier, Josh, but Haaland is he's just relentless, isn't he? He's just an absolute machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't think he's as good a player as some have been. What I mean by that is he's not a complete all-round footballer in the way that other world-class big names that you think of in the past have been. What he is a beast of a finisher. Okay. Yeah. In a team that is perfectly structured to feed him everything he needs. Think whenever Haaland struggled last season, it was because they were saying he wasn't getting the service.
Yeah.
Okay. If Kevin De Bruyne was injured, for example, and it was just like, I'm not getting the ball where I need it. Okay. He's a finisher first and foremost, like, you know, Ronaldo banging in all those goals the latter half of his career, you know, so that type of player. So Haaland, he's insane, and he's going to get insane numbers as long as the team around him keeps enabling him. Yeah. And there's no real sign of that stopping. So we could be in for a boring season, lads, in the sense of, you know, regardless of who you support, it's just potentially going to be 5 in a row for City. And yeah,
I'm not sure about that.
I say that even wearing this shirt, it brings me no joy, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say Haaland is he's clinical, and have you seen his the graph of his scoring rate compared with other strikers that have reached? Yeah. It's unreal. If he keeps this up, he's going to overtake Messi and Ronaldo.
Well, he's so young as well.
I know.
Like, you think of players that have played in the Premier League, like Alan Shearer or whatever, who got, you know, ridiculous numbers. You think of how much time Erling Haaland potentially has. If he was to stay at Man City, he could not just, he's going to break records, let's face it, but the records he is potentially going to be able to set, it doesn't even bear thinking about. The potential, I mean, the sky's the limit in terms of what he can achieve.
Yeah, 100%. I was seeing a chart of, I think it had like Aguero, Rooney, Thierry Henry, Shearer, and it was one that was comparing all of their hat tricks and who's got the most hat tricks in the Premier League. I think it was Aguero was at the top with something like 12 or 13, and then Haaland was like, I think he actually now will be joint I think it was with Thierry Henry and a couple others maybe. And he's only been in the Premier League a few seasons. So he's just scores for fun. Obviously, it helps that his team is, like what you said, Javen, completely stacked and provides him with everything. But even still, you've got to be in those positions in the first place to even score the goals. And we've seen it countless times with Darwin Núñez, where the team around him is pretty good. It's not perhaps on the same level as City at the moment, but their team is good. He was getting assists and things like that, or people giving him good passes and opportunities, but he just fumbled them and completely miss pretty much open goals every other week. And so, you've got to be clinical. You've got to know sort of your way around the box. And Haaland is just that perfect killer instinct. He's like an assassin, striker. He's just like, he's honestly incredible. He does miss a fair few opportunities, but he's always there when you need him. And that's what you need from a striker. You just need him in his position, doing his job from the get-go. And that's what Haaland brings to your team, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the only thing that would really slow Haaland down in terms of his career at Man City is if the worst came to the worst for them. I mean, tomorrow, the proceedings or court hearings or whatever begin against Man City with regard to the financial fair play charges. Now, I think even if City are found guilty of something, the punishment's going to be menial at best. But if it's a severe punishment or bad enough that, I mean, Pep Guardiola is already talking about, not being at City for much longer.
Yeah.
So you also have to think, oh, what other manager or staff are going to come in as well? Football doesn't stay still. There's no guarantee that because you're world class and successful now means you're going to be for the next decade plus. So yeah, it looks like Man City are set to continue to be dominant, but there's the potential knock-on domino effect of external influences like this court hearing, like Pep Guardiola potentially leaving after this season or next season, whenever he decides to go. Those are the only things I could think would really affect Haaland's progress or City's dominance going forward.
Well, they might be playing in Kazakhstan next week. Who knows? But I'll just quickly read out some of the things that they've won since those charges have, like, in essence, what since the charges, of course, occurred, what they've won since then. So in the 14 seasons, it says covered by charges, City won 7 Premier Leagues, 6 league titles, 3 FA Cups, Champions League. And they won, or since then, they says they've won another Premier League, UEFA Super Cup, and the FIFA Club World Cup as well. And of course, they played in the Champions League every season from 2011 onwards. But, all of those trophies could be, who knows, like you say, Joe, it could just be that they're given a fine, they're taken 50 points. I don't know. It could be more or less anything, or nothing might even happen to them. But they could do. Was it a Juventus or something that they gave runner-up? Was it Juventus? I think it was, wasn't it? And they gave. It might have been. It was like in 2005 or 6 or something. And they gave the trophy to the runners-up instead. And then stripped them of the title. So they weren't for the same charges, but I'd in this case maybe argue that because there's so many of them, it just bears more weight. 115 odd charges is absolutely absurd. I mean, we've seen what happened to Everton last season.
Let Jed give his thoughts before I respond to that, because there's a couple of things I want to say, but I'll let Jed speak first.
Briefly, I think no club is too big. City have had good lawyers to delay it this long, but Juventus, Rangers, even Wimbledon when they're in the Premier League, all these teams have been stripped and deducted, and they've dropped down divisions as well. So I feel like if it depends how many financial things go against them, but it's going to be more of a points deduction than Everton and Forest have had. So they will probably be relegated. That I'd say definitely. It just depends how far they drop. Obviously, they'll lose a lot of players, and that will stunt Haaland's. Yeah, it's either that or injuries that's going to stop Haaland. But I feel like, yeah, it's unprecedented. I don't think any, apart from the Juventus scandal, which even though they were stripped of their trophies, Zlatan Ibrahimovic said, "Yeah, we still got the trophies anyway." So Man City will still value all them, even if it's got an asterisk by it. But I feel like they're going to get relegated to the Championship at least. That's gotta happen.
Can you imagine Haaland scoring 150 goals in the Championship next season?
Championship's not an easy league, but yeah.
I mean, let's be like,
It'll be easy for Man City, like.
Yeah.
No, okay, I'll give you my thoughts, bearing in mind the shirt I'm wearing and everything. I honestly don't see the point in stripping their titles because to me that's one, the past is the past. That's done. That's history. It's done, it's documented, it's filmed, regardless of what was going on behind the scenes in terms of this not being reported or that filing being done in a dodgy way or something. The team on the pitch were exceptional. And those footballers individually, as a group, they earned their titles. Okay, they played mesmerizing, incredible football, and it wouldn't be fair on them. And it's a shame for football, the sport, I say, if they, take away, like, oh, okay, it doesn't go back as far as the Aguero moment, but you think of the Gundogan moments where he wins the title
against Villa,
over Liverpool, which was the one time I'd celebrated at Man City winning anything. You think of his, historic games like that, where you take away all the meaning and the weight of it away if you say that doesn't count now. That title goes to Liverpool. It's not really something they're going to. There might, okay. Some Liverpool fans would obviously have a party and a celebration, but it's not the same. Not the same as them actually winning it in real time, is it? I think back to the couple of seasons that United have finished second under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Jose Mourinho, because it has happened. And I think, would it feel like United had won the league if they decided to say, "Oh, City didn't deserve it"? It wouldn't really. I think, honestly, I want them to get the Rangers treatment. I want them to be put down into lower leagues and say, right, you have to work your way back up now. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they'll be slapped with point deductions and some sort of monetary fine, and they can afford to pay whatever fine, so that won't bother them. I can see point deductions being a thing because they've already set a precedent with teams like Forest and Everton that they are willing to do that punishment in recent times. But I would like to see the Rangers.
I'd like to see them suffer.
Put them down there, and it might be something good for the lower leagues because it'll bring some attention to some of the football down there as well. And I remember when in Scotland, sorry, I'm waffling a bit here, but in Scotland, when Rangers were dropped down a couple of leagues, it was a huge, massive thing for. I mean,
it was massive. Yeah.
Scottish football teams are small anyway, but these particularly small Scottish teams, communities were so excited to have the opportunity to play against Rangers. My cousin's husband played for a team that got to play against Rangers during those years, and to him, that was like the pinnacle of his career. Okay, he's a landscaper, gardener the rest of the time, but you get what I mean. Like, it was amazing. Yeah. So obviously, Man City being down there would be great for the teams down there, other than ones that hoped to win anything. Yeah, it would be. That's what I would go for, rather than saying, "Oh, that title you won in 2018, 2019."
That doesn't make sense. I was going to say,
you go on, Jed. You go first. It's okay.
The ramifications of if it's just a points deduction, because the hearings at end of this year or start of the next year, that means they could get the points deduction this season. So that would mean that someone else is going to win the league other than City.
Yeah.
Because with how close it's always been just a few points. And they're definitely going to get 9 or more than Everton got. So that's good for the league. I think that and it's deserved as well. If the allegations are true, then they shouldn't be allowed to win another league. But we'll have to see how that pans out.
Yeah. I think it's too much hassle, like you say, to just go, okay, right, Liverpool, here's your trophy for this season, because they're essentially going to have to do that with the Champions League. They're going to have to do it with the FA Cups. They're going to have to do it with the Premier League. They're going to have to do the Club World Cup as well. The amount of effort that would have to go into that, it would cost more money than it would be worth. So like you guys were saying, I think the only thing that's going to happen is a point deduction and a fine. I reckon even if it was 50 points deduction this season, like by the end of the season, I still think they wouldn't be in the relegation zone, because if they're finishing on 100 points a season anyway, and they're getting 50 points, deducted, if they're going to finish on around 50, let's say, that's already outside of the relegation zone anyway. So I reckon it'd have to I reckon to make it like an actual, like, we're not messing around, like 100-point deduction, because Man City are a team. If you give them 50 points, like you said, they're just going to go and get those 50 points back and not get relegated, which everyone wants anyway. So if they deduct 100 points, they're pretty much going to get no points at the end of the season, which guarantees a relegation. I don't think sending them to the conference is going to do anything, because they get back up here in no time anyway. But I think logistically speaking, it wouldn't make sense to like send them all the way down like 4 different leagues. I just don't think it would make any sense.
Well, to be fair, sorry to interject there, but actually what I was saying about the Rangers treatment, that wouldn't really apply to Man City, because with Rangers is a very different scenario.
Yeah.
They literally had to make themselves a new business, effectively. That's how bad things were for Rangers, and that's why they had to start from the bottom and work their way back up, because technically they were under officially a new name. Okay, they weren't the same club as they were before. The club that existed before ceased to exist officially on paper, even though in all other areas it's still Rangers Football Club. Or it was something like that, and there's nothing like that going on with Man City. So if they were to be put down in lower leagues, it would be a different approach to making that happen, which is why, again, I think point deductions are more realistic.
Yeah. I think that'll happen. The most thing that would make sense to me, like I say, 100-point deduction at the end of this season, whenever that would be announced, obviously. They get relegated into the Championship. That means they're going to be punished anyway, because 50 to 60%, even more, probably going to leave the club, the big time players anyway, because they're not going to be able to get into the Champions League and stuff. The only thing they'd be able to win is a cup, like a local cup, like the FA Cup or something. But I think that's the only thing that's going to happen. I think if they were just handed a fine, I think there'd be riots in the streets outside of the stadium, because they could afford to just pay it off anyway. So yeah, I think like 100-point deduction, we're probably going to see. I reckon that is the most likely thing to happen. It should be quite funny.
It would. So yeah, we've talked about Man City a fair bit there. Liverpool, the new Liverpool.
Arne Slot.
Arne Slot. What do we think of them? Obviously, bearing in mind how consistent they were before this weekend, but also maybe touching on what happened against Forest as well. What do you think of Liverpool this season?
Let's move on. It's just he's inherited a team that's been built up by Klopp, and he changed them from what Liverpool were to a pretty naff side full of average Premier League players to world beaters. They won the league, they won the Champions League, and then Slot is a good manager. He's not with Liverpool. They haven't really had the pace of Klopp's team, but he's been more consistent in possession. So they're controlling games a little bit more rather than being dynamic. But Schlott's got the players now to kick on from that and really challenge for the title again. And I see if City have the points deductions, I can see it being quite good favourites for the title. Obviously, Arsenal still favourites, but Liverpool will push them as well all the way. So,
Yeah,
I think Liverpool.
I agree. They haven't really got a difficult game, other than the Champions League this week, which I think will this next upcoming week will show their true colours. It's a difficult one because, like you said, Liverpool have had a fantastic, sort of dynamic for a while. I think they're playing a different kind of football, very different to how Klopp was. I just think that every team has a few bad games in a season, and I feel like that's kind of what happened to Liverpool yesterday. I don't think the game was televised, but by the looks of the statistics, they completely dominated the game. But I just think it was just a minor mistake, and they'll move on to next week, and they're just gonna continue, giving results. But I like the new Liverpool in that sense, just the new sort of style that they're kind of playing. Sort of, if Jota can have a good season for them, I think they'll do well as well. I don't know about Darwin Núñez. He's dropped him, hasn't he, quite a few times this season, or he's not started him when he's brought him on. But I kind of think that is the right move in a way, because you've got to show, especially for a team like Liverpool, you've got to show that you're clinical and cut out for the job. And I think even without Núñez, Liverpool would do well.
Núñez isn't always reliable, is he?
No, he's just
He can be great, but you don't know if he's going to be great.
Liverpool wouldn't miss Núñez if he was injured for several months, or if they sold him. They were, if not just as good before he joined anyway. So I don't think, I feel like he needs to sit out for a while just to practice on, upping his finishing and his sort of lethalness in front of goal, because he's just not cut out at the moment for the job really at hand. But other than that, I feel like Liverpool are doing quite well this season, other than the result yesterday.
Yeah, well, they obviously, shame to say, they really humbled United the other week, and but I found interesting in the post-match interview with Arne Slot, just hearing him talk about the game, but also he seems to understand Man United's tactics better than the United fans do. Possibly even Erik ten Hag. The way he describes what he saw as being United's approach to the way they played, and then his response and the way he set up his Liverpool team, he just sounds like he knows his stuff. He sounds very knowledgeable, very composed. He's not afraid. Obviously, he's got big shoes to fill with following Jurgen Klopp, but he doesn't seem bothered about it. He's just there to do the job, and so far he's doing it.
Yeah.
And that, to me, makes it look like, yes, things are maybe a little bit unstable for Man City going forwards, politically speaking. But Liverpool look like they've got really stable foundations going forward into the future. And I hate to say that for many reasons. But that's just the way it looks from the outside. So, right, be gentle, guys. Man United, what do you think?
Uh,
Go on, Jed.
I was going to say that,
I'm not going to go through every team, by the way, but don't worry, I will touch on Villa because I know you're both Villa supporters.
Yeah, it's the Liverpool game. I was watching it live with a Man United fan, and they were kind of resigned to the fact that Liverpool did kind of outplay them, even though United played really well the first half, until Casemiro did those couple of mistakes, big mistakes. But I feel like Liverpool just outplayed them, and United's weaknesses are being exposed, and Ten Hag isn't really doing enough to address that. he keeps saying, "Oh, we're in transition. We've got injuries," but there's a certain point when our excuse is still enough, or do you just not have the right players, not picking the right ones? It is interesting how they got rid of McTominay and kept Casemiro. That was a strange one. Even though Ugarte, I think, will be a good signing. But I do like the signings they've done. Xerxes and Mazraoui and De Ligt have impressed, especially in the last game as well. So maybe Ten Hag's right. Maybe they are transitioning and they're getting. These are the first few games of the season, and they have been playing consistently well. It's just they've got to get rid of Casemiro, really. But yeah, I think they'll do all right this season. I think Man United will still get Europe, even though they won't challenge for the title because they're not quite at that level yet. Like
You're talking about 3-0 against Southampton. Why can't we win the title?
Yeah, no. Well, Southampton have been absolutely disastrous. I know we won't really talk about that much, but I want to get it out of the system. Their passing is out from the back, and Russell Martin consistently wanting to do that he needs his plan B. He needs to change his tactics because it hasn't been working every single game because they haven't got the quality of players. They think they're Man City, but they're being exposed in the Premier League for that. But yeah, back to Man United. I think they'll do all right this season, in my opinion. But Ten Hag,
I appreciate the optimism.
Is it Ten Hag's the right man to take them back to title winning ways? But
no.
Before I explode, I'll let Josh talk.
So a couple of days ago, when I heard that Casemiro was leaving Man United, I was just like, I was happy for you. And then obviously that deal's collapsed with Galatasaray now. He's not going there in the end. But he has just man, he just cannot be bothered to play football anymore. You just watch him on the pitch and he's just like dawdling around like he's back in, Spain, chilling and relaxing. And gives, provides a lovely through ball for Liverpool. And then the other goal was just him being dispossessed, basically. I don't know what Man United are one of those confusing teams, and it just seems no matter who you bring in, like your team still kind of stays the same. Like Dalot was just exposed left, right, and centre. Like even the Southampton game, I watched about 80% of the game. In the first 20 minutes, Southampton could have scored about 2 goals or 3 goals. All because Dalot was just in no man's land, just chilling somewhere on somewhere else on the pitch.
That was a great game, I thought.
Yeah, the rest of the game was good, but the first 15, 20 minutes were a bit shaky for what's it called for for Man United.
That penalty could have changed the
outcome. 100%, yeah, 100%. The penalty was drawn out the time, like they were just waiting around for like 2 or 3 minutes not doing anything, and I said he's going to miss this, and as soon as he hit the ball, obviously Onana pulls off the save, and then that kind of gave him the motivation then to kind of win the game. But I reckon if they'd have gone 1-0 up, I honestly think that have struggled to come back from that because of just their mental state's not there, Man United at the moment, like fully. Rashford I almost thought his goal almost looked like a cross until I saw it replayed, but yeah.
It looked like a half-hearted effort.
It did. It just kind of
I didn't think even Rashford wasn't expecting it, and he was like, "Oh, well,
just kind of passed it into the net almost." But I can't see at the minute United getting European football for next season. I just can't see it happening. I don't know.
Europa.
Huh?
Not even Europa.
So that again.
Not even Europa League.
I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I prefer Jed's outlook.
I don't unless something happens like a miracle is pulled out of the bag. The top 6 currently at the moment are, I would say, not currently like standing, but typically the top 6 for like last season are stronger than United's team at the moment. But United have that kind of aura about them, don't they? So I don't know. It could go either way, to be honest. They might just scrape it, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting
Well,
season.
going back to Eric Ten Hag, I've never been overly fond of the guy. Hearing him interviewed and everything, I liked his confidence when he took on the job, with what he was saying about United and the way people thought things were going to go with him. But you've got to walk the walk as well. You can't just, be all talk. And I think he's shown a very egotistical, prideful side to himself where he can't accept fault
Yeah.
and he can't admit that he's fallen short in some area. He's alienated various players, and yeah, I can understand some players, and obviously people were talking about how the team needed to be changed so much. There were players in there was Deadwood, there was bad influences, and they needed to be dealt with, okay? And people thought Eric Ten Hag's the tough man to deal with that. But he seems to be antagonizing everyone.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And I don't think he's getting the best out of the team. I don't think the team look like they're enjoying playing football for Man United. Like we saw, well, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was in charge, they played with a degree of freedom that some players seem to really thrive under. And you saw some really good football during that time, maybe not perfect, but my point is that they look like they're just not enjoying themselves now, and that they're just feeling the pressure. And Eric Ten Hag, he just can't seem to accept the responsibility.
Yeah.
As Jed said, he's made so many excuses, countless excuses. And yeah, okay, there were some valid reasons for concern last season with abnormal amounts of injuries. And after that FA Cup win against Man City, it's understandable giving him more time on the job, to say, right, okay, put your money where your mouth is. And, you've got the summer to prepare and all that. But it just seems like more of the same.
Yeah.
And
Just a copy and paste.
it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, if things don't improve quickly, getting obviously Ugarte into the team and everything, and if he doesn't know his best squad and isn't able to get the best out of them within the next month or so, they're going to have to really seriously think about a new manager again. And I can't believe I'm saying that because it just seems to keep on happening. It's rinse and repeat. But if Eric Ten Hag doesn't learn from his mistakes, what else can they do?
I know.
Now, time is getting away from us. Aston Villa, how do you guys think your club's doing at this moment in time? Great game this weekend. Very entertaining game. Everybody loves a comeback. But yeah, how do you feel Villa are doing?
Let's just take a minute to laugh at Everton. 2-0 up 2 weeks in a row and then 3-2. Bam. But what a goal from Duran though. Incredible. And he's been quality. Yeah. And Watkins is back in form now with 2 goals. So we're going into Champions League all guns blazing at the moment. And I feel like we're going to put young boys to the sword. We're going to destroy those young boys.
Whoa.
Confidence.
Whoa.
But yeah, I'm really excited. And like Tuesday is going to be absolutely epic. Villa Park's going to be rocking. But yeah, exciting times to be a Villa fan.
Yeah. No, I agree. Duran has won us, was it 2 games now? So 2 or 3 games, pretty much. I was watching the game, and as soon as he hit that, I was like, why on earth has he just decided, considering it's Duran as well? I mean, let's be honest, technically on paper, he's not the most outlandish striker in the world by any means, but when he hit it, I was like, what are you doing? And then all you just see is like, whoosh, right in the back of the net. And I was like, oh my days, like I couldn't believe it. Emi Martinez as well was just like, there's just his hands were like on his head, like, what have I just witnessed? But he has been an incredible player for us to just bring on as a super. He's literally the definition of a super sub. Um, so yeah, I'm really happy that he sort of stayed with us, because I think, was it Chelsea or someone were after him? Someone was after him anyway, at least, and
West
the
Ham.
deal kind of, yeah, it's West Ham, and the deal kind of fell through. But I'm just really glad he stayed at Villa. And like you said a minute ago, Jed, I'm glad that Watkins is sort of coming back into form after his little goal drought as well. So I think
You had
it's,
your doubts about Villa coming into the new season, didn't you, Josh? If I remember rightly.
yeah, a bit so.
They exceeding your expectations?
That was more just for the Champions League, though, to be honest. I think it was the Champions League is just going to be completely different. Obviously, our first game next on Tuesday against Young Boys. I mean, hopefully we win it. I can see us winning that, but again, it's uncharted territory for quite some years, being in the Champions League. And so, yeah, it's going to test the waters of how strong our team is. I think there's still a few weaknesses here and there, but I think as a group of players, and obviously, our manager as well, he's renowned for being in sort of European competitions. So I do think he will get us there. I can't see us going too far in the competition, but I suppose you've got to be optimistic to some degree. But yeah, I can see us maybe finishing kind of similar to last season, maybe around there, sort of 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that. Maybe.
Who knows? The new format could benefit you.
It could do. I know.
Yeah. No, it will benefit us because of our fixtures. The only ones that we probably will lose is Bayern.
Munich.
All the others are more of our level or worse than us. So, and you need to get a certain amount of points. And if the results go as expected, Villa will progress to the round of 16.
Yeah.
Well, you talk about uncharted territory and perhaps the lack of recent experience, but I still remember when, obviously, the season after Leicester won the Premier League, obviously they were in the Champions League that following season. And I remember them giving Atletico Madrid a run for their money.
Yeah.
So when those players are under the floodlights of a major European club stadium, they want to turn up, they want to play at their best, because that's where they can really showcase what they can do. That's like, for some players, that's their one time to really show the world how good they can be. So who knows? It could be good things for Villa. You mentioned Everton. Don't want to talk about them too much, but I do feel for them. Obviously they've still never been relegated. Can't believe it.
I know.
But somehow each season, even though every season they seem to get worse, they just about pull it out the hat, survival-wise. But this season feels worse again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do we really think they can do it again? Or,
or
is it just going to be too much?
It's probably the worst start to a season they've ever had. They've got 13 goals against them, 4 goals they've scored so far. Obviously, smack bang bottom of the table with 4 losses. So
if they hadn't thrown away the last 2 games the way that they did, they'd be level on points with Man United.
Yeah, essentially.
That's the mental thing about it. Yes, okay, it's early in the season, but that is crazy.
I didn't pen them to go down. I thought they'd be lower table, but I didn't think. Well, they're moving into their new stadium next season, so it's going to be tragic if they get relegated. And the first season's going to be in the new. I mean, they'll be the best team in the Championship probably. But talking about other relegated teams, well, relegation probably will get relegated teams. We got Southampton, which are doing atrocious as well. I think most people pen them to go down. I think, and Wolves as well, because I think Wolves and Southampton will go down. And it looks like if things stay the way they are, it's only 4 games into the season, though anything can happen. And of course, Sean Dyche is a good manager that can get any team out of the relegation zone. Like, his track record is quite amazing for that. So yeah, I hope Everton stay up because they are a Premier League team, but it's looking blue at the moment for the Toffees.
Yeah, not in a good way. Now, listen, we could spend all night talking about all these various teams, but we might have to save that for another episode. I believe you have a game set up for us, Jed.
I do indeed. It's a quick one. It's called Football Interviews. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be the interviewer, and one of you will be the player or manager that I'm talking to, and the other person has to guess what player, team, and instance this interview happens. And it's all this season, apart from the last one, which is a famous one. So you should be able to guess like the team, the player, the manager.
Okay.
So who would like to go first? Do you want to be the guesser, or do you want to be the one person being interviewed?
If I speak, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Really good one, but I don't know Jose Mourinho one.
I don't mind starting, to be honest. I can go.
Being the interviewee or guessing?
Just the guessing. We'll start with the guessing.
You want to guess? Okay, so Javen, you are the person in question being interviewed.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you questions, and you just answer them.
I'm going to be Steven Gerrard, aren't I, wearing this shirt or something? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but so Josh will have to guess, but like obviously your answers might be nonsense, but Josh has got to try and guess off my questions. But you can answer whatever you want, Javen, however you'd like to.
I'm ready.
So it's like post-match interviews. Well, Javen, it's a difficult result to take. How would you sum today up?
Disappointing, really thought we could have got something out of that, but wasn't to be.
Yeah, well, 15 shots, plenty of possession as well. Why do you think the team haven't been able to turn that into anything meaningful today?
It's all about being clinical and confidence in front of goal. Yes, you can make the chances, but if you don't really believe in yourself, there's a lack of belief at the moment, maybe in the squads. Once we've got that back, then we'll be able to hit the ground running.
Okay, you say that it's up to you yourself to fix. We just had the captain in here, and he says it's fully the players' responsibility to get in these positive positions, but just lack conviction. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, it's fair, but listen, it's the whole team. We don't blame individuals. It's a team sport, and we're all guilty of that. We're sorry for letting the fans down, of course, and we aim to do a lot better next week.
With the game so tight, was it frustrating to concede a goal from a set piece?
From a set piece, yes, because in the training ground, we prepare as well as we can for those. So it's frustrating when you concede from a set piece, even after all that preparation. It can be quite disheartening, but that's football.
Yeah, frustrating day. Would you say it's been a frustrating month as a whole?
Yes. We've not achieved what we wanted to this past month, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, it's a busy next month before the break. So do you think that will be an advantage? Advantage to you in terms of will it help you get out of this rut that you're sort of in now? Sorry, this is one of the longest ones. It's nearly finished.
Will what get us out of a rut? Right.
So it's busy next month before the break, but do you think it will be to your advantage in terms of helping you get out of this rut that you're sort of in now? This is not my words. This is the person asking the question. So the poor manager must be like,
I believe we have to make it our advantage. We have to take advantage of the time we have next.
Can I guess at any point, by the way?
You can cut in whenever you want.
Okay.
Josh,
is it Ange? Is it Ange?
Well done. It's
Is it?
No way did you get that from
No,
that.
because I was reading something today, and Ange, it was in another fight with another reporter today.
Oh, you read it? Oh,
No, it wasn't today. Was it? Was it?
yeah, it was today.
Was it today? Was it?
Literally, 'cause I thought, no way you're
I
gonna
was
get.
thinking back to their Leicester game.
Well done. You get the
I
point.
wish I'd done my grumpy Australian
Yeah,
accent.
no, I really wanted to say use an Australian accent, but that would have given it away.
Good eye,
But yeah, I
lads.
think you did that really well, Jabin, because even though
did,
you didn't have
yeah.
a clue what it was on about, you answered it well. Get him in as manager. And
I'd have loved to have actually tried and done an impression of him. You know, when he's sulking and he's just got his head down.
Yeah.
I finished the interview.
If the fans don't want us to win against Arsenal, then I really.
You want me to finish the interview and you just be Australian then?
We might as well just move to the next one.
we better move on to the next
Okay, right.
round.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
So I'm addressing Josh this time. It's a shorter one than last time. Sorry, Jamie, but there's another long one for Josh after. So this is a press conference.
Okay.
Just going back to the commission, it's debating and everything next week. Can I just ask you, everyone seems interested in the eventual outcome. What about yourself and the players? It's their work that will ultimately be in danger. Is there an inkling that you and the players have talked about it?
I wouldn't say. Yeah, of course. I don't even know how to answer as a manager. What a time pressure situation this is. I think we work together as a team. We like to keep things under wraps. I'd never put any more of my players to blame. And yeah, looking up to the future. Of course, it's up to the lads to sort of, keep playing their best. And yeah, we'll see what the next few weeks have in store for us.
Okay. Is it talked about in the dressing room, do you know?
It's talked about on a personal level. I like to keep all of the players, sort of under my wing to a degree. And so, I don't just view them as, a collective group. I view them as individual players. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
What about everybody in the club? Not just the players. What about all the staff?
All the staff have their roles to play, of course. They're instrumental to, not just, just to myself, but to all the players as well, and the club as a whole. So yeah, everyone has their part to play at this club. It's not a one-man band. We all work as a collective, as a team.
Fantastic. And that's the end of the interview because you said questions.
Okay. I've got two clubs in mind, so two managers that this could apply to. I'm going to go with Sean Dyche, Everton.
You think it's Everton. What was the other team out of interest?
Eric Ten Hag, probably.
Eric Ten Hag. Well, you're wrong about both of them.
Okay. Well, it could apply to both of them. Who was it?
Wrong.
Actually, about Man City, it was talked to Pep Guardiola about the FFP.
What?
A few days ago.
All the negativity. I was like, what?
Josh completely took it the wrong way from it.
Yeah, but obviously I don't know who it is, do I?
Yeah, I know. That's
I've just got to make up a load of garbage on the spot.
There wasn't as much questions than that. I think Josh had it easier, but
I thought you were talking about like actual like game performance or something.
Yeah,
so
I said it was a press
that
conference.
Really threw me. That did.
It's the questions you've got to look out for, though, isn't it? It's the questions you've got to listen out.
Just ignore what Josh and says because it could be nonsense. Okay. Anyway, right, next one. So there's five rounds. You've had the first two. We'll go back to Javen. Do you want the accent? No, right. So this is a player I'm talking to. So I'll give you that, Javen. So, Javen, obviously a big team effort, but I dare say you will be the hero in the dressing room. A lot of big saves. Are they always sweeter when the team goes on to win the game?
Yeah, well, it's a team effort, but I'm always glad to contribute. Happy to help the team.
Okay, so talk us through it. 8 or 9 minutes after half time, the ball kind of loops over your head from one angle. It looks like you're absolutely dead, really. But what are you thinking?
Just instinctive. You do all the work on the training grounds. Okay, that's when you do the thinking. When it comes to the actual game, when you're in the moment, you just got to go for it.
Nil deflection. The next question. I've got a little deflection.
It came off. It came off the player in a way I didn't expect, which made things quite hard.
Okay, I'll move on to the next question. Is that also years and years of hard work? We don't see everything in training, but warming up for a game, the little bits of training we do see, you're up again and up again with your team and your goalkeeping coach. So is that save years in the making?
I do try to keep it up as often as possible, yes.
Okay, and I do think when we see episodes of the season back in years to come, we'll see that save again and again. I asked you off camera if you'd seen a better one, and you said yes. Have you seen a better one? You said yes straight away. Have you seen a better save? And you said yes.
Oh, yes, I have seen a better save.
All right, I'm gonna cut in. I'm gonna cut in. If it is it going by yesterday, the only one I can think of was David Raya.
Yesterday?
Well, are you talking about yesterday? I don't know when these interviews were done.
Yeah, it's all this season.
Okay, so it's within the last few games. Was it Raya?
It was David Raya, but again, you've got the week wrong. So yeah, it was his save against Villa a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that was a banging save. To be fair. Yeah, that was when we lost 2-0, wasn't it? Yeah. So I was thinking back to yesterday because he made some incredible saves yesterday. Today. Sorry, not yesterday. I'm talking
That
about.
was so difficult to know
Yeah.
what.
You did so well. Right. Okay, Josh had a longer interview now, so let's see Josh struggle with this one.
Oh, great!
Easier for you now, Jay, because you'll have more information.
I've been getting these correct all for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. I can't believe you got both of them as well. But anyway, well, Josh, obviously no one likes to lose, but what about the bigger picture? What did you think of your team?
Do you know what? Today was just a little bit of a hiccup. The boys, they still played very well today, but it's one of those moments. It's football at the end of the day, and we'll be rebounding, ready for the Champions League next week.
well, going off what you just said there, for you, it was a 50-50 game that was decided in the penalty box. One team more ruthless than the other?
When games come down to stuff like that, it can come down to a bit of luck, of course, but at the end of the day, it was a scrappy game, but the other team were just more clinical on the day, and that's all I can say, to be honest.
Yeah, in terms of identity and style, the ideas you tried to convey to your players of pre-season, did you see that in your team, your ideas, you know what I mean?
Not the result of today's game, of course, but like I said, everyone has a bad game. Today that happened to us, unfortunately. And as I say, we'll be, raring and ready to go and back to 100% for next week.
Did you feel like you had real momentum halfway through the second half? Did you run out of steam, or did City's quality just took a bit of sting out of the match?
I'd say we started off quite well. It was quite an even game to begin with. I just think the pace of the game, and the things that happened, the decisions that didn't go our way, kind of let the boys, got in their heads perhaps a little bit.
Right, is it Chelsea?
Well done. Who was I interviewing?
The Chelsea manager, whatever his name is.
Well done.
Whatever his name is.
And for a bonus point,
the latest bold edition.
Well done. Nice indeed. And for a bonus points you're left with Josh, do you know the exact game week he was interviewed for that? Was it
the first one?
The first one. That's correct. So you're both equal on 2 points going into the final round. Fantastic. But this one is a twist. So it's interviewing 2 players, and it's from the Premier League, not this season. But
Okay.
I'm going to interview you both at a time, and you've got to work out who both of you
Is
are.
it for last season? Is it, or just any season?
The idea that me and Josh are the
Any
players.
season.
We're both present
Yes.
together for this interview.
Any season. Right. Okay. So
Oh, okay. So we're both.
famous. It's one of the most famous interviews. So, but you'll know the players. Okay. So, who wants to be player 1? Who wants to be player 2?
From what I'm seeing on my screen, I'll be player 2.
Okay. All right. So, guys, very well done. Josh, 4-0 win, top of the table. Not a bad way to celebrate your 500th Premier League game, is it?
It couldn't have gone any better, to be honest with you. The lads played really, really well today, and contributed to the win. And I'm just happy to have made that big milestone.
Yeah. So, Javen, that wasn't a bad way to get among the goals, was it?
No, but he could have scored more with the amazing assists I was providing.
Yeah, and you have the prize in your hands, which is the match ball, of course. Of the 3 goals, which one did you enjoy finishing the most?
Mate.
Yeah, still Javen.
Oh, sorry, I'm the goal scorer. Sorry,
you're the goal scorer. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I've just played the game. I do remember. Yeah. What I meant before was I would have scored more if Josh delivered better passes. But yeah, it's a good feeling. I'm very pleased to have this match ball wherever it is. I don't have a ball handy, but yeah, I've got the match ball here. Going to take it home and sleep with it instead of my wife.
That's 12 for you now this season. How are you meeting your own expectations in front of goal? Not in bed.
I'm really not meeting my expectations this year.
Okay, so back to Jonathan. 500 Premier League games. Is that a landmark you can enjoy now, or will it be something more you look back on at the end of your career?
Yeah, I think you could enjoy it both now and in the future, to be honest with you. It's, like I say, a massive milestone for anyone to have 500 appearances in the Premier League. And of course, when I retire, it will be something, I will look back on and relish the moment.
Well, you are top of the table for the next few hours. What encouragement does that give you today? Still, Josh?
Anything's possible. It's the Premier League. Hopefully we stay top. Hopefully our rivals, of course, don't get any points for the next game. But yeah, I mean, it's just nice to of course finish on a win today and get that 500th cap.
Well, many congratulations, Javen. Unsurprisingly, you're man of the match. Would you do the honours? No, it's yours. Congratulations. Very well said. Well done, guys. So what team, what players do you think?
I just realised the camera won't pick that up unless I'm talking.
Is it Liverpool?
Man of the match, pencil.
Is it Liverpool?
Javen, what's your guess?
Club-wise.
Wait, so this isn't relevant to this season, is it? This is a previous season.
Do you want another clue?
Liverpool. I mean, can do.
You both go Liverpool. The clue is, Javen, you gave your man of the match to Josh. You didn't accept it. So who were the?
I can envisage it in my head. So was it Liverpool?
I do vaguely remember this.
I'm not going to say whether it's Liverpool.
Was
no.
it Steven Gerrard?
Yeah, go on then.
Was it Steven Gerrard?
It was Liverpool. And guess So you get who was Steven Gerrard? You, Josh, or Javen? Well, there's 2 of you. So
if it's Steven Gerrard,
Luis Suarez.
Be Luis Suarez.
So are you both agreeing on that, or do you want to change?
Suarez and Gerrard.
So, sorry, are we saying that who got the 500 caps would have been Gerrard, right? Because Suarez didn't play that much.
And you think Suarez would have given
So
them out?
Suarez would have provided the assist to Suarez, yeah?
What?
So
No, Suarez would have
Sorry.
got goals.
Sorry.
Gerrard would have.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. What did I say? Suarez would have.
Are you both? You know,
Suarez,
No.
Suarez. That's how good he was.
do you think Suarez is going to give the man of the match to Steven Gerrard?
Sorry.
He'll probably bite his hand off for that. Well, you're correct with the team. It was Liverpool, but it was in actual fact Javen was Mo Salah and Josh was James Milner.
Oh no!
But you both get a point, so you're equal on points, and you both win today. Well done. You did surprisingly well there. That was quite amusing.
I remember that. That was ages ago, wasn't it? Goodness, James Milner, what a man! Still playing football as well.
I don't remember it being those two. I vaguely remember an interview like that, but I don't remember it being those two players.
Yeah, I do. I vaguely remember it. Vaguely.
You both answered those questions remarkably well, apart from that one time when was it Javen or Josh had said, "Yeah, I want to retract my statement."
To retract my statement.
I guessed the bottom of the table team, Everton, when the answer was actually top of the table, Man City.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
It's both FFP, so.
Before we finish off, by the way, do you want to hear a funny story about Quincy Promes? Do you remember him?
He got jailed, didn't he?
Yeah, so you might know a bit about this, Jed, but yeah, I'll say it anyway because it was quite funny. I saw it on the internet in a news article. But as you guys probably remember, he used to play for the likes of Ajax. He's got about 50 caps or something for the Netherlands. A few years ago, he got convicted of cocaine trafficking and stabbing his cousin in the leg, as you do.
That's our revenue gone.
I know, yeah, but it says he was tried in absence and given 6 years, and obviously he was in exile in Russia because he would have been extradited back to the Netherlands, of course, if he'd left. But he was playing for Spartak Moscow, and on their pre-season, they went to Dubai. So you'd think, naturally, if you're leaving a country you're in exile to, you'd probably want to keep on your best behavior. But somehow he got involved in a hit and run incident while he was driving. And the last people probably heard of him was he was locked up in a Dubai prison waiting extraditing to the Netherlands. But apparently he turned up at a local 7-a-side football tournament, an amateur league, absolutely destroyed everyone and helped them win the tournament. And now he's signed for a local team in Dubai. So I don't know how he's managed to finesse that whole situation of trafficking drugs and all that stuff, but that's a little story for a player who did have quite some promise. I know, promise in football. Pardon the pun.
Amazing.
There we go.
Well, before we conclude, anyone want to comment at all on the Nations League?
No.
Nope.
Does anyone care? No. Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
Harry Kane, golden boots.
Golden boots.
He's the highest scorer ever.
It's true.
Ironically, Scotland have been better in the Nations League than they were in the Euros, so I'll take that. Scott McTominay. Oh, I didn't say actually earlier. Gutted that Scott McTominay's gone. They got rid of the wrong player. There's other players I would have got rid of long before him.
There's many more players that have got ridden of before him, to be honest, bearing in mind he was their top goal scorer for quite a lot of last season.
Well, he came in clutch quite a few times last season, and I'm really scared of what's going to happen with his absence.
Just have to rely on Anthony, the best football player in the world.
Yeah. Too good for the Ballon d'Or is Anthony.
Always 3 goals away from a hat-trick.
Yeah. Well, won't be long before we're talking about the Ballon d'Or as well, but we'll save that for another episode. Lads, it's been a pleasure. We will see you all again, hopefully in a week's time, if not sometime later. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
See ya.